passenger plane with more than 200 on board has gone missing over the Atlantic. The Air France plane was on its way to Paris from Rio de Janeiro. There are fears it was struck by lightning. An anxious wait for relatives at Charles de Gaulle Airport. Air France says there were British passengers on the flight. Also on tonight's programme, the Chancellor, Alistair Darling, hands back £700 to the taxpayer. He's under pressure over an expenses claim.
I'm very sorry about it. I unreservedly apologise for it. It shouldn't have happened, and that's why I decided to repay that money.
A battering for America's love affair with the car, bankruptcy for General Motors, and massive cuts to follow. Susan Boyle is being treated at a London clinic. Questions tonight over whether she was put under too much strain.
The pressure was building about the final anyway, and you had a bit of sleep deprivation and not eating properly, and you get a complete nervous and physical exhaustive breakdown.
And later in the hour, I'll have all the sport, including another new man on the bridge for Carlo Ancelotti, deliver where others have failed and win the Champions League with his new team, Chelsea.
Good evening and welcome to the BBC's News at 6. An Air France plane with more than 220 passengers and crew has disappeared over the Atlantic. An airline official has confirmed that there were British nationals on board. The aircraft was 4 hours into a flight from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to Paris when it sent an automatic signal indicating there'd been an electrical problem. It's thought the plane may have flown into a massive thunderstorm. As our transport correspondent Tom Simons reports, anxious relatives face a long wait as the search and rescue teams have to cover a vast area of open sea.
Charles de Gaulle Airport this afternoon. Air France flight 447 should have landed at 11. Its ominous disappearance has left friends, relatives, even those prepared for tragedy, waiting in horror. The departure board recording its fate so far as delayed.
Your attention please. We invite passengers waiting for the Air France flight 447 coming from Rio to proceed at the Air France information desk.
The passengers on this Airbus A330 were Brazilians, French and Germans. Air France does not expect to find any of them alive. We know that the overnight flight from Rio de Janeiro left as normal at 11 p.m. There were 228 passengers and crew. The plane began its journey flying along the Brazilian coast, but about here it struck out across the Atlantic, where there's no radar tracking. Controllers last saw it on their screens at 2:48 near the islands of Fernando de Noronha. At 3:14 UK time, an automatic data message was sent by satellite from the plane reporting an electrical problem after passing through a storm. If the plane had been at cruising altitude, it would have been high enough to give half an hour's gliding time, enough time to recover, say, from a loss of engine power, and enough time for the crew to make a mayday call, but there was none, suggesting a more sudden emergency resulting in a mid-ocean crash.
Around 7 Paris time, it was clear that the plane was in deep trouble. And we contacted the military authorities to find out what could be done to find the aircraft.
This was the weather at the time. The plane flew through an area where air masses collide, sending towering storm clouds up to 40,000 feet in the sky. Airline officials fear there was a lightning strike, but very rarely does that lead to a crash. But tonight in Paris, those waiting are expecting the worst. Tom Simons, BBC News.
Well, our special correspondent Gavin Hewitt is at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris now. Gavin, experts are no doubt trying to piece together what happened. What's the latest you've got there?
Well, George, all afternoon, relatives of those on board have been coming here to Charles de Gaulle Airport. Just a short while ago, President Sarkozy said to them there was a very slim chance of anyone being found alive. This would be, if it turns out to be, a total disaster, the worst accident in Air France's history, and the worst accident for civil aviation in the past 10 years. So there's enormous pressure to find out not only where the plane is, but what happened. But officials here believe this may turn out to be something of an aviation mystery. They're searching over a vast stretch of ocean. One official said this could be a very long, sad story with the flight recorder at the bottom of the ocean. And tonight, Air France actually approached the American military and asked for a help of American spy satellites to see if they can provide any information as to where this plane is. And of course it's important because the A330 is one of the great war horses of transatlantic travel. But at the moment here, more mystery than any kind of information. George.
Okay, Gavin, thank you very much. Within the last hour, the Chancellor, Alistair Darling, has